Let's get down to business.
A family business. Boss baby.
No.
Boss baby.
Are you kidding
Boss
me?
baby.
You have.
Boss baby.
Yeah.
Greetings and welcome to DreamWorks, a DreamWorks podcast starring a happily employed photographer barely getting by with DoorDash, a disgruntled ex-journalist now writing Scott Pilgrim fan fiction, and a spineless asthmatic 27-year-old curmudgeon sweeping movie theaters for a living. Today, it's Boss Baby 2, people.
Before we get started, also mention it's the last that works.
Yes, of the initial run. We're almost at the end. We'll have our finale after in a separate video, ranking everything. But this is the final movie of this initial run.
I can't believe we made it.
Yeah, but so we'll preface this by saying that we will cover DreamWorks movies that come out after the series is done in just those one-off installments each time. But the initial run is the end is here. And what better way to go out than the most recent one at this point, because The Bad Guys is coming out in like a month or two from now when we film this. The Boss Baby Family Business, continuing the epic saga.
Guess what better to do than Boss Baby 2?
And Jake and I watched this in July of 2021, and Dickey watched this when?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. So
you literally put it off.
His mind is fresher.
It's very fresh.
But we'll get into it. I'm actually curious because last time it was he had seen part of it, right, and then had to rewatch it. Whereas this time, this is a first watch.
This is the first
and
watch.
He's got a lot of notes on his phone.
I have not that you can see this, but it's quite.
We'll zoom in on it. Not that we can read it or even probably see it. But
should I start from the beginning?
No, you're not going to read them now.
Are you just going to read them all through
This
to
is
us?
our 41st episode, and you don't remember how this is structured?
Next
Come on.
is 42.
That's a good song.
It's not only that, it's a meaning of the universe.
Meaning of life, yeah. Meaning of the universe.
You thought you might be a ghost?
Sure.
Yeah. That's the lyrics from the song.
Yeah.
I don't know what song you're talking about.
42.
Coldplay.
Yeah.
Off Viva La Vida.
Or Death and All His Friends.
I don't really remember.
It's like the middle track, isn't it?
Like track 4, I think. Boss Baby 2!
That is like the middle of that album.
Yeah, it's about the middle. Rated PG.
There you go.
The last one.
Last one. Lead us away.
Okay. So without further ado, again, the Boss Baby Family Business. Now grown up, Tim and Ted have become estranged. One a successful businessman, the other a family man. But when a new school threatens the world of Boss Babies, Tim's daughter Tina, a Boss Baby herself, springs into action, recruiting Tim and Ted back into service and aging them back to their first movie ages. Can the brothers work together to save everything? I think it's you just watched it. Does that capture the premise fairly well? Because a lot happens and there's a lot more.
Yeah, that's
the base. That's the basis
pretty well.
So, who do we start? I think me and Jake should start because you've got the most notes.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah. Go ahead. You can start
this last time.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
I like this movie better actually than the first one. It's an actual honest, better movie. I think I have a little bit more fun with the first one. But I think taking them from an adult and bringing them back to being babies frames the movie a little bit better than just randomly throwing us into childhood fantasies. Also, I think this is one of those movies where there are a lot of jokes in the trailers on TV that weren't actually in the movie. The specific one that comes to mind is the cutting up of the ninjas cutting up the paper people out of his money. That I don't think that was actually in the movie.
I'll be honest, I don't remember a single commercial for this movie.
Why? It's your favorite
I think it was
franchise.
I think it was mostly on Peacock. That's
maybe because
why.
I just mentally blocked it out. Just like Boss Baby 2? No.
I will admit that Jeff Goldblum, yeah.
He was the villain.
He's Dr. Armstrong.
It is a bit creepy.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
no, he's not the Sorry, he is not the creepiest part of this.
I don't. I either blocked it from my mind or just don't remember.
I just
No, you
remember
want-
he's so uncomfortable. Here's the thing: if they take away all the scenes of him eating candy and ice cream, I think it wouldn't have been.
That's why he's so crazy. Is because he's high on sugar.
But I'm saying if they take that away, maybe it's not as creepy because that was making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, homie was just like,
And it's
like
the smacking. It's
inhaling.
they paid Jeff Goldblum X amount of money to go through a whole
was-
movie
I mean,
very,
wouldn't you let Jeff
very
Goldblum do that in your room for free?
for free.
I would pay him. And I would pay him.
Actually, I'd like him to have ice cream because then we both could be having ice cream.
Or pancakes?
I would do anything with Jeff Goldblum. Honest to God, like that man.
Or Ryan
is just-
Reynolds.
Or Ryan Reynolds. They should have put Ryan Reynolds in this movie too. Like that would have sent it to a whole new level. Honest to God.
I don't think we could have handled that much. I
Well,
think
if
that
we
would have
get a
been so
third- If we
extra.
get a third movie, then put Ryan Reynolds in.
I mean, they kind of led up to it.
Here we go. Just put Ryan Reynolds, Detective Pikachu in the third Boss Baby.
Oh my God, that's the crossover for the ages. Right
Right there.
I'm sold. I'm into it.
Speaking of movies that are better than Hey Have Any Right to Be,
Mm-hmm.
Boss Baby Family Business.
Yeah.
Go, Jared.
My turn.
Sure.
I went into this not knowing what to expect because that first movie is so wild. So I was like, how do you capture that that ridiculousness again without it just being? What would you expect out of sequels just not living up to an original? Which that first movie we've said is not a good movie, but it's got.
Thank you.
I already said that.
I know.
last episode.
I just like hearing it again.
It's not a good movie. It's not anywhere near as bad as like Spirit Untamed or Turbo
Which, to be
Or
fair,
Shark Tale.
can we?
or Shark
Do you
Tale.
mind if I throw this in really quick?
Okay.
That scene where they showed Spirit in this movie,
That's the best joke of the
I
whole movie.
legitimately had to double check, make sure I didn't, because when I watched this on Hulu, and when I was watching it, I'm like, wait, did I accidentally click the next movie? And I'm like, no.
It's
And
so
I'm like, I was so confused.
It's so funny. I lost it in the theater. They were showing it, and then just boom right through.
like,
That whole chase through town at the beginning is one of my favorite parts of this movie. It's just wild.
that is, I agree. Actually,
That's when these two movies are best, when it's just off the rails. And I was like, I'm loving this. It doesn't reach those heights again the rest of the movie, but I still liked it. I think it's a better movie, like Jake was saying. I think it has a stronger center to it, and what I think works better as well as characters go is this is an infant and a child doing all this. These are two adults stuck in the bodies. I think that makes it funnier, and I think having James Marsden voice the character instead of it being an annoying kid voice, I think that works better. Because now it doesn't feel weird. It's just funny because they're having to be kids again with the voices being the same, which is really funny.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I think it is a little too long, though.
Oh, 107 minutes.
Yeah, it
That's
was-
like 10, 15 minutes longer than it needs to be.
No, it was. It definitely. I felt the length of this.
We were talking before we were recording about movie times getting longer on average, and kids' movies are doing
Mhm.
Pixar in the early 2000s did that too. Like Incredibles and Cars are close to 2 hours.
Wow, I didn't realize they were that.
I
Cars
think-
is almost 2 hours.
I think it's like 116 minutes.
Jesus.
And then they get shorter, but now we're starting to see a lot of kids' movies
Let's
get
keep.
longer because, like what I say, Ron's Gone Wrong is like 110 minutes.
Yeah, I know you said that was a long one. Yeah.
Like that's long. How to Train Your Dragon, all of them get longer. That third one is the longest DreamWorks movie, I think. And the whole thing, we've probably said that. Like 109 minutes or something like that. Like, kids' movies are getting longer. Sing 2 is almost 2 hours. That's like...
But it was the
let's
most
just-
beautiful 2 hours you've ever
Oh,
seen.
yes.
Let's just keep kids' movies to like a tight 90
Can we
minutes.
just keep most movies to 90 minutes?
I would be okay.
No,
can have
because I
plenty
feel
of
like
movies.
some of the movies need more room to breathe.
I didn't say all. I just said most because most movies are way too long.
That's true.
Because if the big things are super long, I'm fine with that. But if movies are 90 to 100 minutes on average again, that'd be nice.
I would be very happy with that.
Because right now their average has got to be close to 2 hours, if not longer.
Well, especially for someone like me, which is why I like to watch TV shows a lot, is because I just have about an hour-ish of free time a night that I can like sit down and actually watch something before I have to like get some chores done or whatever. And so that's why I like TV. So if they kept movies to 90 minutes, I could watch a lot more often. But
But we want to segue to you. Well,
Are you just going to read down your notes for us?
I mean,
or are we going to space it out here?
I think spacing it out would be better.
Well, do what I do, where I write them all down on here in the binder that I worked so hard on.
I kind of,
It's right there. It's holding up your poster.
It's not holding it up. It's just behind it.
It's not even touching it.
Nope. But I was just going to say, my notes, I sprinkle in without just going one by one. Because we go one by one, it's going to be the Dickey show, and no one wants to see that.
You'd be surprised. If anybody just wants it to be me, let me know. Anyway.
Well, I'll ask you this question for the start of yours.
Yes.
Did you like it better than the first one?
Yes and no.
Explain.
That's not really a good answer.
I realize that. So, allow me to explain.
I didn't even think about that. Yes and no. That's called, he didn't think about it.
No, I did think about it, and some parts were better, and some parts were worse.
What were the better parts?
The humor. I thought this was...
Way funnier?
Way funnier.
Let me guess. You started laughing within the first 10, 20 minutes, and you realized, I don't want to laugh. And then as the movie's going, you're like, dang it, it's funny. It
actually wasn't the first. It was that chase scene when it just get like, I don't know. Let's round and say the chase scene was like 6 minutes maybe,
something like that.
The first 3 minutes, I'm like, okay, it's the same old shtick. We're doing the whatever, and then they did the spirit gag, and then I'm like, okay,
it opens the doors.
I'm like, oh god, what are they doing? And then it just kept getting crazier with that guy yelling, "It's too real! It's too real!" Like that is what someone was like, okay, they're taking this way further and like way nuttier, and I actually dug that about it.
And the school was cool. I thought that was cool.
I did like
the design of the school was cool.
Yes.
And I like how the thing that is basically another antagonist in the movie is the school, what the school represents.
Yes.
And I liked that. I thought that was a fun set piece. They're not, the first movie, they're mostly at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how it's like, hey, let's choose a separate environment to go to and interact with that for most of the movie because it works really well.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I did want to say, I'm going to jump to the end of my notes here really quick, is so like, remember the issues that I had with the first one where like it got lost in its own logic? It only did that like once or twice for me, and it didn't do it as much as the first one, which is why I thought this was a touch better in that way. Because like, so this is kind of what I was, let's see exactly what I wrote down, is every kid come from, like, I'm very confused as to how babycore and what babycore is and how it works. Because Tabitha does not seem to be a part of that. So how does that make any sense?
Tabitha's the older daughter.
Correct.
Okay.
Like, they showed no way of her, like, they never insinuated that she was a part of that when she was a kid. So
because not all kids are that.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Did they ever...
Do you remember at the beginning of the first movie?
That question
at the beginning of the first movie, you're chosen to either be a normal baby or a boss baby. Don't you remember?
No, I do not.
That's the opening credits. Like, you're one or the other. You don't remember it if you're chosen to go to Earth, but other ones get given the suit, remember?
Okay. I did not remember that, but...
So yes, not every baby is a boss baby.
Okay, so that answered my question.
But Tina's a great character. And it's Amy Sedaris.
I know.
Hilarious.
Oh, no, I knew. As soon as I heard Amy Sedaris, I'm like, that's
Princess Carolyn! Princess Carolyn, look, I met John Stamos. That is not John Stamos. Princess Carolyn, John Stamos, so I just got our ears pierced. That is not your ear. Princess Carolyn, John Stamos died. Why? We thought night swimming was a good idea, but the current was too strong. That's one of my favorite jokes of that whole show. That's season 1.
It's so good. Yeah, she's also in The Mandalorian and Boba Fett.
Yeah. I like her character in that too.
I know. Oh my god. No, I was actually very happy that she was in this.
She's an elf too. She's his secretary, his dad's secretary.
Oh, I didn't
Papa
realize
Elf
that.
Papa Elf from the North Pole. From the North Pole. That's her. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for answering that question, because that was a big issue that I had, and I was very confused as to if Tabitha was okay.
Yep. So I'm looking at my notes too. Just I don't remember why I felt like Armstrong's villain plot was weak apparently, but I don't remember what it was.
It didn't. It seemed like he was just a butthurt kid that had too much sugar. Like that's all it felt like.
So would you say the first movie's villain had a much better thing? Because
Steve
Buscemi's thing in the first movie is he got kicked out.
Yes,
and he's trying to get revenge on them.
That makes a lot more sense because like Jeff Goldblum just ran away from home. And he just didn't like his parents, so he said, "Screw you! I'm going to make everyone babies, or I'll mind control everybody." Which I was just like,
"Gotcha." That's what I forgot. I will say the heart of the movie is the estrangement between Tim and Ted. Which, by the way, Alec Baldwin, boss baby for the first one, is Ted is his name.
Mm-hmm.
I thought their brother dynamic was very good.
It was a lot better than the first one. Wow,
and I thought the first one was fine. I feel like this one, when you have two adults voicing them, and you have the little more to do with it, because here it makes sense. It's like one is very successful in this way, which makes sense, and the other one
is very successful in a different way.
Yeah, and I liked how Tim was a stay-at-home dad. I thought that's something
I was really like,
you don't see that in kids' movies that much. I really like that
from the beginning. I'm glad you said that. As soon as he was just like, I have the greatest. It's similar. I have the greatest job of all time. A stay-at-home dad.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hell yeah, let's give more power to stay-at-home dads. It's like that's not a very common thing to like.
Stay-at-home parents. That's a really hard job.
It is, and it's like,
but also like
usually glossed over. I feel like.
Yeah. And it makes sense when the character from the first movie being an imaginative person, of course he'd be great with kids.
Exactly. It makes a lot of sense. And I did really, really, really dig that part of it, is that they were just giving more power to him.
Again, the plot is probably weaker in the movie overall, but I think the heart is better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's why I like it better, other than it just gets crazy and it just works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have other stuff to add? I just noticed we're talking over you, Jake.
Yeah.
I think that the brother dynamic is better in the second one, because in the first one, it's about them becoming brothers rather than their actual brother dynamic.
Because before they're forced to be with each other, and now they have gotten along. It's just they've grown apart.
Them trying to rekindle that relationship, which I think is just.
And again, it is more interesting watching two adults as babies do it, as opposed to two
adolescents,
toddler and baby.
Well, and especially doing it.
He was like 7.
Yeah.
In the first week, he's like 7.5.
Yeah, okay.
That is not a ton.
Yeah,
two kids.
Yeah,
but I was saying, and just doing it this way just opens the door for more emotions. Like you can't really have too much more emotions when it's just two kids fighting with each other,
and more comedy when you can use a bit more adult comedy because they are adults.
Yeah, it's adult.
They'll make more adult
Speaking of
jokes.
the adult comedy,
the dirtiest joke in DreamWorks history.
Exposing himself to the audience. Is that what you were going to go?
No.
Which one were you going to go?
The one in the kitchen. When they have they call it to, I want you to suck it joke.
Oh
and
my
go back
God!
And forth,
what is with them and sucking it?
And then he cuts outside to his wife, like, "Okay, we're gonna go out now." They just told that joke, and I love it. It's so
they did that
funny.
in both movies.
I know, but this one, they like the first one. It's one of those things where yes, the joke. The second one, they actually draw attention to it, saying like, "Oh, we know what we're saying." The characters know what they're saying and what they're insinuating. And I was losing it. I was like, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah, no, because that one, like I said, the exposing himself to the audience. I'm like, did you really just say that? Like, oh my God.
And I did like the storyline with how like Tim is a good dad. And it does feel like he's a bit overbearing because that's what his life is being home with them. And when Tabitha's starting to grow apart from him, it makes sense that he'd try to hold on. We see that in movies all the time.
Yeah.
But this felt natural. And him wanting to be a part of her life still is a real thing. For some reason, I feel like I can't remember the specifics that I thought of back in July, but it felt more natural than a lot of kids. A lot of kids, it's just shoehorned into, the dad is being overprotective, and we got to somehow reverse that by the end.
Exactly.
I'm speaking this coming off of watching the most, not the most recent, but the 6th Ice Age movie.
I don't even know if I've ever seen the 6th Ice Age.
I'd only seen the first 2.
I thought you were going to say Spirit Untamed.
You said the most recent, I'm just like...
Because Jake Gyllenhaal is pretty overbearing for a person that has dynamite all over his...
Yep, that's a whole other thing. But I just think of like... If you look at the Ice Age movies, I know you both probably haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen the new one because I don't really want to, but I just finished the original 6 because I was like,
I haven't even seen one of them.
I was going to say, so you're going to have to walk me through here because I think I've seen 1, 2,
Ice
and
Age,
3.
The Meltdown, Dawn of the Dinosaurs.
Yep.
Continental Drift Collision. There's 5. Now there's 6 because
Wait.
there's the Adventures of Buck.
Have I seen Continental Drift?
That's
Maybe.
with the pirates.
No.
Which is the one where the squirrel goes into the spaceship?
That's the one I just watched. Collision Course.
Okay, I haven't seen any of them, but
It's
that's
basically like
the
his
last
version of
Really?
Don't Look Up.
advertisement
The
that I
first 2 are the
remember.
best.
Just that. All
Okay.
you need is that first one. You don't even need the rest of them.
I like this because the second one is when Queen Latifah got in there.
Yeah, and I'm fine with the second one, but each one gets worse. And each one is like, let's see, we need to do something for the story other than like the plot. Like, what do we do for the character? Okay, let's see. Second one, Manny is being weird about getting with another mammoth. And then the third one, oh, she's pregnant. He's overprotective. The fourth one, oh, his kid's growing up. He's overprotective. Fifth one, oh, his kid's getting married. He's overprotective. It's the same story.
Exact.
But we do get Ray Romano making fun of is it Divine? The annoying guy from everything he's in.
Yeah, Workaholic's the one I think of, but yeah.
He's making fun of it. He goes, oh, look at me. I love look at me jokes like that. Like, oh, look at me.
Oh, look at
Give
me.
me a hug, bro, dad. And it's Ray Romano's like nasally voice to it. I lost it. I had to back it up because I was laughing so hard. But when I watch like that, it feels like the most lazy, overprotective
It just seems just
parent
like
trope.
simple.
But then I watch this and it actually feels
Well,
like
because this
he
one,
cares.
it didn't seem like he was trying to be overprotective. It just seemed like he was just trying to connect with his kids.
Yeah.
And he just felt like she was just floating away because of too much homework. And like, that feels pretty real, at least to nowadays. Like, I feel like they're just pumping. Like I can feel like the tide kind of starting to change from like giving the kids too much homework and just letting them be kids and live their life. But like, I really dug the way that they did that. I cannot believe.
I think this is a better movie.
I cannot believe I enjoyed this.
I think this is a good movie. Maybe not great. I'll even say good. I think even in my original thoughts, I don't know if I'd call it a good movie. I think it's actually a pretty decent movie. It's middle of the road where I put it normally, but compared to some of the other things we've watched in this catalog, this is a step above.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's never boring. It's too long, but it's never boring, and it's got a good heart to it, even if the story is not the strongest. I think this is a step up from the other one, and it's actually a decent, lower in the pack entry for DreamWorks, but still much higher than some of those
I would
other
put this
ones. You were putting this way low when we were talking about this a while back.
I know, but
How could he have put it way low? He hadn't watched it.
And then we had to tell him, you haven't even watched it. Well, I'm like, no, because he's like, I think I'm going to put it here.
this is probably 3/4 of the way down.
That's about where I put it, too.
Mm-hmm. But okay, I had a very small nitpick that makes like I said,
Hopefully we remember it.
it's a nitpick, so it's not that big of a deal. But so, do you remember when the mom was picking, or when she brought baby Tim or kid Tim into their house because he was going back, he had to walk 3 miles and had all that. And then she just let him walk out the door after they were done feeding him. That made no sense. Do you remember that?
She just let him leave?
Yes.
Why?
She's
Going to kidnap him or something?
Well, no, but like she was so worried about him walking all the way back. She drove him to her house and they're like, okay, bye. Like, what?
That's actually pretty funny.
See what I'm saying, though?
It is one of those things
I just
it's got to be a part where it's like, okay, why does Tim leave what did we do about that? I just let him.
100%. That's just what I was saying, like, no one's going to look into it. I looked into it, though. I know what you did, writers.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I wanted to say about that.
I have a really random question that really doesn't mean anything to the movie.
I wear boxers, not briefs. Was that the question?
No. But now I'm curious.
Now everyone knows.
We know what Dickey
briefs,
wears.
not boxers. There you go.
We know what Dickey wears. We've seen it.
What a day that was.
Today.
Do you did you at least wash them?
No. Actually, no for both. No, I don't want to see him. No, he didn't wash them.
Yes, I washed my underwear.
That's been like a month ago, man.
What kind of detergent do you use?
I use the Tide powder.
Yeah, that's not washing them.
That sounds itchy.
No, the powder. Well,
Did you then eat them for dinner?
Why would I eat my underwear for dinner?
Because you eat Tide Pods.
Because you're
No, but
basically a Zoomer.
Tide Pods are like sweet.
I know what Tide Pods.
Like, I guess. No, I guess
shouldn't. We shouldn't be joking about
like a
this.
pixie stick. I'd be like,
pixie stick. That's better.
Anyway, my random question: do you think that this was originally supposed to be like a November film?
Yeah, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be later in the year.
Okay,
because it's a wintertime movie.
I thought that
it's Christmas time.
I thought that I remembered that. I was so confused when I watched it. I was like,
yeah, they bumped it up.
Yeah,
and I don't know why. I don't know why.
Because I'm sure it got moved because of COVID.
Well, but they originally had it slated after all the COVID stuff for November of 2021, and then they bumped it up to July. But when you watch it, it takes place during winter, as you've said, and it's Christmas
thing you
time.
see is Christmas lights.
It's very family centric.
Like, it's a Christmas movie, and it came out in July, and it still made an okay amount of money. It made back its budget, but it's still like for how well Disney did in theaters last year, into this year, like. I wonder what DreamWorks is thinking now that their last couple movies, yes, pandemic affected, but when Disney can still pump out their stuff in the theaters and make a good amount of money, and then yours are not making that much because Boss Baby, that other one did like $500 million.
Really? Did it really?
Yeah, I made a lot of money.
Wow. Because I agree. I think I thought if they would have released this around November time,
I remember it being originally
way more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it too. I think they bumped it up some point last year. I think it was like April.
You think it was because Spirit 2 underperformed like crazy?
They bumped it up before Spirit came out, though.
Did they?
I think so.
I thought Spirit came out in like June.
June, yeah.
And then this came out in July.
And they bumped it up to July. I don't know, because they would not bump it up that far if Spirit had already come out, and it's only a month after, because it came out July 2nd. It was less than a month after Spirit. So they would have bumped it up.
I wonder if they had a contract with the streaming service, and the streaming service was like, needs to go now.
Because it was Peacock. It was a simultaneous release, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe you guys had to do something with that then. Okay. I do want to mention really quick. There's one line in this that killed me more than any other line, and I'm very happy they wrote this into the movie. At the end, when all the parents are attacking, do you remember what Ted says?
Just tell us.
Oh my God, it's like Night of the Living Boomers.
I remember that line, and I remember making a cheeky grin, like,
hey, that's me he's talking about.
It was more of a, I don't think this is hilarious, but I think some people, lowest common denominator, would appreciate the joke, and then I got
a pretty big hoot out of that. I really thought that was funny.
Let's put it on right now. I want to watch it again. Let's just rest of the podcast just be us watching on this TV. It's just gonna be us with our backs turned watching the movie.
No commentary about it at all.
Nope, just ha 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 ha.
Boomers.
Oh, that's another one. Sorry, I was just going through my notes and I'm just trying to pick out more that I. Do you remember the song that they were singing about climate change and how we're all screwed?
I think
the play. Yeah. That was hilarious. The other thing that I want to mention is how creepy that girl was in their class that had the pony. I'm going to have nightmares of that girl. Oh my God!
I'm lucky I don't remember it.
Oh, you are so.
I will say, Ted breaking out of the baby room was really fun. Remember that they're going after the cameras and just yeah. That was fun. And again, it is kind of, they're just navigating the school building for most of the movie. I found that really fun.
It was. I feel like the whole school building was pretty creative, actually. Sorry, I am keeping to go through my notes here. I don't know if this is from something else, but when Alec Baldwin said the only difference between how did he phrase it?
But I don't know. I thought you would have written it down in your notes.
Well, I did, but I didn't write the exact line down. It was like the difference between trying and a triumph is giving a little bit of the oomph. It was something of that nature. I'm like, I like that line.
They ripped that from Happy Feet.
That's what that is from. It seems like it was from something else.
It's try. What does it start with? Try. And what's it end with? An oomph. Hugh Jackman said it that time. There you go.
Though. Yeah. No, I like
he did that too. He went like that with a little chubby penguin body.
I feel like that'd be a good motivational poster.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jared loves penguins.
Dude, penguins are awesome. Like, how can you not like penguins?
I didn't say I don't like penguins.
I've been trying to go to the zoo for years.
I just said Jared loves penguins.
Do you like?
Yeah,
penguins?
it's always
I love
under
penguins.
construction when you go. I think we've heard this story.
No, that was the Chicago one. Shed Aquarium has penguins, and their habitat was under construction. I didn't get to see the penguins. I haven't seen a penguin in real life in like 20 years.
Oh my god, we have to go see penguins.
We should go to the zoo.
We should go to the zoo. and see penguins.
It is winter.
And we could walk over there like
And we
this.
can even walk like penguins.
Yeah.
Do the whole penguin waddle.
Excuse me, I can't walk.
You can waddle.
It's more of a saunter ish crack walk.
Penguins.
All right. All right. I have one more thing on my notes that I want to mention. Okay.
Okay.
I had a long list. I was cracking up at the Shawshank stuff they did in the school. I was just.
That's right.
I
It's
was
over
not expecting it that he was singing this song, and I'm like, oh my god. It's just.
So I'm not gonna lie. I saw this before I saw Shawshank Redemption for the first time.
That's he saw Shawshank a couple months ago.
Just for the first time.
Oh my
It
god.
was in late November that I saw it for the first time. Yeah. It was better than I expected it to be. Yeah,
Dude, it's like one of the.
it's just one of those movies I was always scared to watch because of all the hype.
But it lives up to that hype.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too.
It's the #1 movie on IMDb. It has been for a long time.
Really? I did not know
Yep,
that.
the highest rated one.
Nice.
It's one of those. Would I say that's the best movie ever made? No. But I'm okay with it being a placeholder.
Oh, that's
Plus, I think the first Godfather is in second,
very fair.
which I'd put that up for one of the best things ever made.
What would you put? What would be your #1?
I would have to say that Oogie Loves movie with the giant puppets and the balloon, the big balloon adventure. You know what I'm talking about?
Not a absolute clue.
Look it up. Look it up. The
So-
Oogie Loves and the big balloon adventure.
Oogie Loves.
Oogie, yeah. OOGIE. LOVE. Yes. Oogie Loves. Tell me if you remember this.
And,
You know what I'm talking
and the
about?
Great Balloon Adventure.
There's something like that. Big balloon adventure, something like that. You audio listeners.
Jared, are you okay?
Yeah, because
That's your.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh my god.
I just
He needs a hug.
The Oogie Loves.
That-
and the
that-
Big Balloon
that- that
Adventure.
conversation-
How did you pick that out of anything?
I haven't seen it.
Infinite amount of movies in this universe, and Jared picks
The Oogie Loves.
that.
Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Wow.
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh dear God.
I've never seen that. I've never seen any of these, but I'd like
It's
to.
good
You
in
sh-
all the worst ways.
It absolutely is.
I'm excited to one day watch it. Do we have any other thoughts on The Boss Baby Family Business? This is not going to be a 75-minute epic like last time because Dickey
I actually
likes
like
it.
this. I'm shocked. I did not. I went into it thinking I was going to hate it.
Even as
I
he was writing his notes, he's like, I'm going to hate this. I'm going to hate this. Now he's
He was
here.
hate writing. He
I
was
kinda
I was
like
actually
this.
not hate. Well, so like, that's a positive one. That's a positive one. That's a positive one. Negative one. Positive. Positive. Negative. Negative.
Dickie, it's okay to admit you like this.
I know. I was saying I did. That's why I was going through it. I'm pretty sure there are more positive notes in this than negative. Which one last thing, because I just saw another note that I wanted to mention. I'm really glad they didn't try to go really confusing and saying all of this was their imagination.
Oh yeah, they just went like, no, this actually happened.
I think that played and worked a lot better than in the first one.
Yeah,
Where,
remember what we were saying about in the last Boss Baby episode thing? We were saying how the first movie teeters that line between what actually happens because they're not really clear.
Yep.
And then it gets undermined by this movie saying, "Oh yeah, this is all real."
Mm-hmm.
So this does make the first movie a little weaker.
It does. 100%.
It's a better movie.
So
Remember what we were saying last time too? Like, it's rare when you see stuff like this where the second movie ends up being better when the first movie wasn't even a great movie.
mm-hmm.
Because like, I know we have different opinions on the How to Train Your Dragon movies, but that first movie is great and the second movie is great,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't really say that about the second one making it better or worse because they're both at an
They're
equal
both
level.
that high. Yeah.
So, but then you brought up Wrath of Khan, like being
Yeah,
good, where
it
the
was-
first movie wasn't really that great.
See, I was confused because we were talking about Wrath of Khan earlier.
We're talking about a different thing, but the whole point being, like, it's not often you see that with these, where the second one is much better than the first one. I wouldn't say much better. You know what I'm trying to say?
But yeah, no, and kind of like you were mentioning how like
Madagascar, he brought up last time too, did that where the second movie makes the first movie better when the first movie isn't that great. I like it. I have nostalgia for it, and it's funny, but that second movie makes the first movie better.
It does, yeah.
Any closing thoughts on Family Business?
I'm just surprised that I liked it. I really, truly am.
You got me wanting to watch The Big Balloon Adventure now.
It's a kind of a creepy poster. I'm not gonna lie. Like, look like they're just peering in from like. I'm guessing.
Turn your phone. Let's see that.
I'm guessing those are balloons. Yeah. But it doesn't. It doesn't look like a balloon. But I'm not going to say what it looks like. I wish you could
see Jake's face. First it was like what, and then it's looking at me with concern. I haven't seen it.
But where did you pull that? You know, that's a whole other conversation where you even pulled that from.
I don't know. I'm like,
what part of your memory?
This is such a hard conversation to just be like, oh, it's this. Because I put the greatest movies of all time. The Godfather's always in the conversation. Seven Samurai's always in the conversation. Passion of Joan of Arc's always in the conversation. Battleship Potemkin. Like, look at like some of Tarkovsky stuff.
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane's always in the like it is. It is. Bicycle Thieves is often in some of those conversations. 8.5.
Yeah, Lawrence. I would maybe say Lawrence
of Arabia. Like there's so many big movies because often when people do those lists, they only focus on American movies, and that's not fair. Because there's so many great movies that are not.
Let's get weird German expressionism. Like that stuff slaps.
Like Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
That's the first one that I thought of. Yeah, every time.
Well, that's like the epitome of that style. Like that's the big one everyone goes toward. Yeah,
maybe that's what we should do our next series.
Silent movies.
Yeah.
You like silent movies, Jake? I think the only one you've seen is The Artist, and that's not even completely silent.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's the only one I've seen.
I think that would be a really interesting series. It could be.
I'd like to do film noir.
There's so much we do. But we're getting off course.
We're getting off course, though. That's what happened.
But then now we're starting to feel a little bittersweet.
It's weird. Like I remember when we started this.
I was sitting in this corner. That was my back. And you were about the same spot, but there, we changed the setup in that time. We got our banner put up. We finished, soundproofing the room.
I think we added a couple lights.
We got these nice mic stands. We have multiple mics now. We started with the condenser mic in the corner of the table for all three of us to talk, and we've gotten to the point where all of us have our own mic and mic stand. We have a splitter under the table to do all that.
It's fun because I just remember like saying like, oh, let's make this series. Let's try to do this, and here we are. We
started watching these in like early February last year.
Yeah,
so we are past the 1 year mark of starting this. We mentioned that in a previous episode, but now we're at the point where we're getting close to when we actually started recording these. I think May was when we started recording.
I think we started putting these out in May.
Because June 1st, I think, is the first.
Yep,
June 1st is the first episode, or that's when we made a bunch of our accounts to upload.
That was the first episode because that's when Dickey did his shirtless advertisement.
Yes, it was. Because it was Memorial Day weekend and we had to go out hard.
White boy summer.
Yeah. Memories.
Yeah, so it's... Yeah, and then again, for everyone listening,
thank you for sticking around.
Thank you for the support, and thank you for sticking around. And we will cover DreamWorks movies that come out after this, because we'll have our finale after this in a separate thing, its whole big grand finale where we rank them. But as more movies come out, we will cover them. It'll be just plugging back into the series once or twice a year. But this is it for the bulk of the series. We made it through 41 movies for a single studio. And I remember when I finished last year, about this time, July, you just get burned out.
Yeah.
Really burned out on these.
That's why I think...
So we're going to pace ourselves better next time.
Spread it around a little better.
Because you've noticed a couple of these we haven't watched in a long time because of how long it took us to record these.
All right.
Yeah, any closing thoughts on the series before the finale, guys?
It's going to be an interesting battle to see where we're going to place all of these movies.
Oh, yeah.
Jolly good time. Like a jovial romp, as they say.
I think this will... How do I put this?
Be nice.
I think this series will be the most split of any other series that we do because it was also a bit of us trying to figure out how to talk to each other. And also, I think these movies are more polarizing than, say, something like Pixar or Disney.
I can see that.
It just comes down to we're figuring out how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel like we talk to each other pretty well. That doesn't mean we're nice to each other at all.
Oh, not at all.
No,
not even close.
Yeah, I know we're talking about ourselves now on this episode about watching, but
it's the last episode.
Yeah, we got. Get one more.
I do think we do need a new mic cable for my mic.
Yeah, yeah, or we could just unplug you.
And that's true too.
Really
I like that. Yeah, you wouldn't really notice.
Oh, don't you get started. I could just unplug both of you and you'd be very surprised how long I can talk.
Oh, you can still hear me. I'll yell.
We have duct tape.
You could. You'll still be able to hear him through your mic.
Believe me, I will make as much noise as possible.
You don't even need to unplug him. Remember, there's buttons on on that splitter. You could just go under there, turn off the button. He wouldn't even notice because the cord would still be there.
True. Very true.
Yes. But thus ends the 41st and last movie episode of AdWorks, a DreamWorks podcast. You want to give us our social shout outs.
Thank you for following us throughout all of our endeavors. And while you're following us on listening to us, this is brutal.
You've done this like 30 times.
I know.
Why is it the last
times, my brain just flopped.
Keep going.
Anyway, follow us on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. We post memes, we post highlights. We have a good time. And if you are listening to us, make sure to rate us on Apple. Make sure to follow us on any other podcasting website. And also like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We would love to hear any of your thoughts on if you like us or if you think we're stupid.
Also, just to celebrate it, didn't you say we had 1,000 downloads on Spotify?
1,000 downloads.
Thank you.
Which, when this is published, it will probably be far behind 1,000, but it is very exciting that we officially hit 1,000 downloads.
You guys and gals and everyone else make this worth it.
It's a lot of fun.
This is all thanks to you that we haven't destroyed each other yet. we thank you with all our hearts. And unlike previous episodes where I turn the page of this wonderfully built binder to the next movie,
never be used again.
To the next movie, there is no next movie as of right now.
Next one
again, the Bad Guys comes out in a couple months. We'll have an episode for that at some point after we all actually get around to seeing it. So I'm going to close the binder.
Wow.
Right now. We'll open it again for the finale, but I'm just
binders are closed.
Yep. So
my binders are already closed. It's over there. It's been closed for about half the series.
More than that, you used it. I think Shrek was the last one you wrote notes down for.
No, there's notes for Trolls World Tour in there, bro.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
Good job.
Okay. Anyway, we shall see you for the finale.
The epic finale.
Have a good one. I'm sad.
It feels weird.
We did it.
Give me the news, I got a bad case for loving you.
Dickey does sing.
Although you got me singing for the intro.
Something.
Timmy was complaining about you screaming again.
Was he really?
Actually, he was complaining about us enabling your screaming.
Because you went, well, welcome to our show. Woo, woo.
That was a good one.
God.
Oh, you almost had it. Hold on, try it one more time. Let's see this.
Oh, you want me to do a bottle flip?
Oh. Leave it.
I don't know that you'd be able to do it with an empty one.
No, probably won't
You
work.
need to have some water in it.
Yeah. That's been in there for 2 weeks. 1 week.
You didn't even tell me about that.
Oh my god.
The whole thing is going in the cold.
Oh my god.
You can't even see it.
Let's see. Yeah, we can.
Why?
There's a bug in here.
There is.
There's a fly. How'd that get in
I
here?
don't know.
Kill it.
It's not even like bug season.
Get it.
No.
Why?
I'm talking.
You can do both.
No, I can't because I'm
No,
going
if
to
he,
move
goes,
my.
if he tries to get it now, he'll just knock over the wire.
Yeah.
That's true. Although that'd be pretty funny to watch you chase a fly around the office.
Yeah. Do it, Dickey.
No.
Come on.
No, I'm not going to get the fly.
Here, I'll get it.
I'm not your attack. Are you just going to throw it? Oh my god.
Can I throw it at your light?
No.
Winner! Winner! Chicken dinner with a side of mashed potatoes and oh!